Hey guys, let's take a look at this unique temple complex called Pančaratha in India, and I'm going to show you some solid evidence that this was the model of Kailasa temple. But how could these 5 individual structures even begin to be the model of Kailasa temple, which is the largest monolithic structure in the world, carved out of a single rock? Because these individual temples are not really individual structures. They're all carved out of one solid block of stone. This entire complex, the 5 towers, the elephant, and everything else is carved from one single rock, just like Kailasa temple. For example, we can see these 2 towers which really look like individual structures. But if you look at the base, we realize that they're not separate rocks. A considerable part of Pančaratha is actually still underneath the sand that has accumulated over many centuries, and underneath we have the base of one solid rock. This makes Pančaratha one of the largest monolithic temples in the world, just like Kailasa temple. If you are not familiar with Kailasa temple, you can click on the top right corner of the video to see how it was created with advanced technology. If we calculate the width and height of the rock that existed before the creation of these structures, it would look like this: a hill made of granite. The only way to create these pyramidal structures is by scooping out tons and tons of rock, starting from the top, just like Kailasa temple. And not one piece of rock has been added to this complex from outside sources. But Pančaratha is a much more mysterious site than Kailasa temple itself. This complex has not only baffled tourists, but also historians and archaeologists. Till date, experts do not know why these structures were built. Now, what do I mean by this? These are temples made for worshipping gods, right? No, they were not created as religious structures at all. If you look at the base of each of this tower, you will see a large stone structure called a kalasam. In every Hindu temple, these kalasams are placed on top of the tower, and all religious worship begins only after this kalasam has been placed on the top. However, in Pančaratha, all these kalasams are deliberately carved at the base, and the top of the towers are left empty without these structures, clearly indicating that the Pančaratha was not a place for religious worship. Archaeologists confirm that this was not created as a place of worship, and believe that it was built as a model or a prototype. A prototype of what? They don't know the answer to this question, but if we analyze carefully, we can clearly see that this was the prototype of Kailasa temple. There are 5 types of towers in Pančaratha which match exactly with the 5 towers of Kailasa temple. The Kailasa temple is so large that these 5 towers are not even visible from the ground. But if you go on top of the mountain, we can see these 5 towers, each with distinct style, exactly matching the towers of Pančaratha. If you look at the base of Kailasa temple, it is shaped like a chariot, pulled by a series of elephants and lions. And at Pančaratha, you can see the identical features. The only difference is in the size. The animals look much smaller because Pancharatha is a smaller prototype of the humongous Kailasa temple. The carvings of various gods are also identical in both the temples. And here you can see this beautiful elephant at Pancharatha standing beside the towers, and you see the same figure at Kailasa temple as well. Of course, you can see how invaders tried to destroy this elephant, but couldn't succeed. They tried to destroy the Kailasa temple and just gave up because Kailasa temple is indestructible. What's interesting is that the Pancharatha was also tested by a destructive force, much more powerful than human beings. It was hit by a massive tsunami in 2004, and while the newer temples built in the last few centuries were completely destroyed, this structure doesn't even have a scratch on it. There is something fundamentally different about these ancient structures like Pancharatha and Kailasa temple. They are simply indestructible by nature or human beings. There are many more similarities between Pancharatha and Kailasa temple. Archaeologists estimate they were both built around the same time, about 1300 years ago, although they think Pancharatha was built roughly 50 years earlier than the Kailasa temple. All these evidences prove that Pancharatha was in fact built as a model of Kailasa temple, but here is the baffling problem. They're both separated by a distance of 800 miles, and all historians say they were built by completely different kings who had no contact with each other. How could the prototype be built in the south of India while the main structure was built in North India by people who were completely disconnected from each other? The only possibility is that both these structures were created by the same builders, and these builders must have possessed advanced technology. I mean, even today, it is hard to imagine how the entire complex of Pancharatha was created out of one solid rock. What kind of technology was used to create this prototype? Archaeologists will say these were created by hard work of human beings, using simple tools like chisels and hammers. But is it possible to create structures like these with just simple tools? If ancient builders really used some kind of advanced stone cutting technology, can we find evidence of it in the same complex? Nearby, we can see a massive rock that's been sliced in half like a loaf of bread. It is more than 12 feet tall and 18 feet wide. You can see no chisel marks, no series of tool marks for placing wedges like what we see in newer temples. What we see is one cut like slicing butter on a huge granite block, which is one of the hardest rocks in the world. How was this possible at least 1300 years ago? I mean, what kind of technology was used to cut a rock of this size? Archaeologists offer no explanation as to how such cutting is possible, but have shown you many examples of ancient machining technology. You can click on the top right corner of the video to see it. So what do you think? Was Pancharatha built as a model of Kailasa temple? Were these ancient structures built with primitive tools or advanced technology? Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I'm Praveen Mohan. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and also click the bell button to get all the updates. Please like and share this video with your friends, and I'll talk to you soon.